Okay. Hi. My name is Uile, and I am a stand-up comedian. Before becoming a comedian, I did a lot of things. I was a student, not necessarily an A plus student, but smart to some degree. Let's not talk about mathematics. I was also an up and coming art director, then a corporate marketer, oftentimes a failed singer, a wannabe writer who didn't think he was funny. But before all of that, I was a son of the Lay family. Have you ever stopped to wonder, who am I? Or who should I be right now? I mean, do I want to look smart? Yeah, of course I want to look smart. Does this shirt makes me look fat? Are people looking at me? They're all looking at me. Crap. This feeling is what you would face every day as a comedian. A comedian stands on stage alone and just be. A comedian's weapon is his truth, his voice. It's funny because it's true. He has the audacity of authenticity to speak his truth because authenticity is a weapon of mass creation. But what is my truth? The truth is, it takes a long time to find your calling, to find your spark, your purpose, your ikigai, whatchamacallit. And today at TEDxFTU, we will have amazing speakers talking about the crisis happening all around us. But for me, I want to talk about the crisis within, an identity crisis. So I was born and raised Lê Tông Uy with four siblings. My parents had high expectations, I thought. In Vietnamese, my name, Uy, means power. So you know where I got my sarcasm from. In fact, if you put the names of my entire family together, you would get something that sounds like a propaganda slogan. You would get to rule a precious nation with long lasting intelligence and power. So you can imagine how hard it is to be part of the Lay family, the legacy, if you will, especially for my brother long lasting. I was probably the underachiever of the family, an introvert amongst the extroverts. Being very good at English didn't help me connect with my Vietnamese parents. I was also bullied at school for unoriginal reasons, for being small, being weird, being queer, being different. It felt really bad to be myself, to be Dong Uy. But that is who I thought I was expected to be. Dong Uy needs to do well in school, then later build a career, preferably a teacher or a diplomat because I'm good at English, duh. Then a little later, he has to form a family of his own, one with a wife not necessarily beautiful, but loving. And then maybe two children, one boy, one girl. Maybe they'll grow up to become a doctor and a flight attendant. Maybe. Definitely, maybe. So, of course, the expectation was too heavy for me to bear, especially the having a wife part. And my parents were always supportive and caring. They try to provide their children with the best conditions to thrive. So, as the stereotypes went, the boy, I was sent to martial arts class. And as a girl, my sister was sent to piano lessons. And we spent most of the time being jealous of one another. So when my parents decided to send both of us to an English center, I got in class and the teacher asked me, "What's your English name?" You mean I can choose who to become? Do you remember the time you were playing a video game, like an RPG, and then you get to be the hero? The question would pop up, so, Mr. Hero, what's your name? How many people here would have chosen their real name? How many would choose a way cooler name? So when she asked me that question, I thought, this is the moment that I become a different person, a hero who's gotta catch them all. That's a Pokemon reference. But as I contemplate, the teacher was one step ahead of me. All right, so your name is Tommy. Tommy. Why? Because you look like a Tommy, so Tommy. That means a bowl of noodles. She was talking about my hair at the time. Let's be honest, I was not a big fan of the name. I was not a big fan, but being Tommy actually felt great. Because Tommy is good at what he does, top of the class, perfect English. Tommy is admired by all his peers. And Tommy is proud of all the prizes and prestige he gets. Dong-Uy is not that great. I mean, he does okay in school, but not in mathematics or physical education. And Dong-Uy was bullied and laughed at, but afraid to tell his parents. Dong-Uy didn't even like himself. So I was Dong-Uy at home, in school, and on paper. But in my English center, I was Tommy. This was when I started to lead a double life. Cognitive dissonance. It means the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. I felt that. Because there's this person you are expected to be, and a person you really are, an identity you want to be seen as, and one you're afraid to show. And you try to walk the thin line in between, but it's a struggle to put on so many different masks. Every time you meet a new person, you enter a new circle, the world seems to constantly challenge your sense of self. Might as well give me an Oscars for 20 years of acting. When you try to please everyone, everything reminds you of your insecurity, telling you you're not good enough. And in that state of mind, every decision becomes a crisis. When I escaped junior high and all my bullies, all my demons, I actually entered a prestigious high school. Of course, I didn't want people to know about Dong-Uy, the one who was bullied, who didn't like himself, that was insecure about his physical shape and his emotional scars. When you can't stand your own vulnerability, you will bulk yourself up. You try to become something that you're not. You start to chase after values that don't represent you. So I was there, exploring all the options. It was all a play. I was not enjoying all the things I did. I just wanted to impress, to pander, to make other people accept who I was trying to be. There was this part of you that wants to bury all your insecurities. And there was this part of you that wants to explore and become something greater. I remember feeling miserable every day, going to school, even though my classmates were all nice and supportive. But I felt compelled to play a certain role to convince everyone that I am someone else who's quirky, funny, always positive. But I was so tired. So what exactly is going on? I recently found this chart. from the work of psychologists like Eric Erikson and James Marsha. It's a way to look at how we struggle with finding our identity. Now let's try to move away from all the technical jargons and just put things in layman's term. I think as a kid, you're basically a blank page. You're not sure of who you are yet and haven't really explored anything. Life offers so many new flavors. So this is where most of us starts. Diffusion. You don't know, you haven't committed, and you haven't explored. Remember Dong Ui? For me, he's there. For closure. He represented all the things that was expected of me. He was all the values I was assigned to at birth, and those that I tried in vain to commit to. I think some of us have all had a place assigned to us from the beginning, like how a man should be or what career should women be doing. But who I was inside, all the things that I believed in, were completely different. So this could be called a negative identity, where an adolescent, a young person like I was, adopted an identity that was opposite to what was prescribed to me. That cognitive dissonance, the feeling that something's really wrong here, the feeling that there was a mistake, or like I was a mistake. Something was really wrong with me. So Tommy became an escape, It was my attempt to explore, to be who I want to be, even though not all the choices made sense. But as you journey through life, you find new values, new meaning. You stumble upon an ideal self, an idol, a certain someone you want to become. So that's where Tommy is. Moratorium. He's exploring all the options. He's trying to fit in. He's striving to become something better, to become someone great. But without any commitment, he lacks a sense of direction. It's like how you'd be on the verge of graduating high school and not sure which major to pick. I found out to really find your voice, you need to both explore and commit. To find complete convergence in yourself. To find authenticity. So as Dongui and Tommy continue to coexist, they're at war. I try to hide the weaknesses of Dongui and fake it till I make it with this Tommy attitude. But when I started performing stand-up comedy in a random bar in Saigon, I met Jorge. His name was Jorge, but spelled Jorge, but pronounced like Jorge. So it took me 5 minutes to get his name right. Then he asked me, "What's your name?" "Well, my name is Ui, but you can call me Tommy." "Why?" He said, "You took the time to get my name right. The least I can do is to respect your name the same way. It's Ui, right? Nice to meet you." Wow. At that point, I realized I haven't been so kind to myself. That somehow I was trying to please people around me, to project a certain image and to walk and talk a certain way. I did not have that audacity to be me. So why am I doing that? Why? As I signed up for my first comedy competition, I didn't sign up as Dong Wei or Tommy. I signed up as Wei Le. I don't want to use Tommy as a facade, a way to make myself sound more interesting or fancy. I like my name. But I didn't call myself Le Dong Wei because I've hidden behind my family name for too long. This time I want to put Wei before, ahead, and start taking accountability for my own successes and failures. Wei Le does have his insecurities, but he accepts it. Wei Le has his strengths, like Tommy, But it's not all that he is. He's not a cardboard cutout of the good kid, the nice son, the successful man stereotype. Relay is just a person. And I think this is where I achieve my identity. I started to open up. I've given up trying to please everyone. That means you're going to lose a few friends for your sake. But you will also find your support circle, the people who are there for you in all kinds of weather. And in that circle, I try to be more honest, 100% collectively. You don't have to wear your heart on your sleeve or tell everyone your secrets. You just need to make sure there's nothing you're afraid of hiding. So as I stopped seeking validation from people, I know I needed to find that from within. My emotions have been bottled up for too long and they deserve better. So I let myself be heard. I came out on YouTube to at least 500,000 people on the internet. Do I look back and think that was a crazy thing to do? Yes. But I don't regret it. Because that means I cannot go back into hiding anymore. I love this quote from Brené Brown, a researcher, a psychologist. You can find her TED Talk online. I really recommend it. She said, staying vulnerable is a risk that we have to take if we want to experience connection. So the moment I embrace myself, Relay, who's vulnerable and not afraid to show it, I started to connect with people. And that connection enabled beautiful creativity. I got fans recognizing me on the street, which isn't that great because I always wish I dressed better. I got on the New York Times by luck mostly, but still, that was me. I also got on a couple of memes. So I guess it doesn't hurt to try new things to find yourself. It takes time and commitment. You may start out somewhere and end up being a comedian. But I think we should embrace ourselves, diffuse and disconnected as they are. Because there's a voice within you that's trying to reach the world. And I think it should be heard. Thank you.